Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Capricorn July 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel St. James, clairvoyant. Well, it's a wonderful thing to see the subscribers back again. I really enjoy your company, truly I do, and I really look forward to seeing you, particularly you. Now, for those of you who have stopped by previously, then you know that I provide over FaceTime and Skype one-on-one clairvoyant readings to people all over the world. And I also provide healing to people all over the world as well. Now, that spiritual gift of healing, I am to receive nothing in return for it. I am to provide it and I am to get no benefit from it. So it's free. There's no obligation. You won't be sold anything. So if it speaks to you, then by all means, check out the information that's in the description at the end of the video if it speaks to you. Now we're going to see what's going on in your life for July, shall we? And see what cosmic energies are swirling around and how we may deal with them. Let's have a look. Now, we don't just spend 5 seconds on a card, do we? No. So we take 5 cards because that keeps us plenty busy, because they have a lot to say to us, these cards, don't they? With their astrology, their numerology, their elements, and their position with one another. The mystical associations. The King of Wands. This is the 7 of Pentacles. What might this be? This is the King of Swords. A couple of court cards there for you. I love the court cards, actually. They normally have a lot to say. There's the 9 of Wands. What's in here somewhere? What's this? 7 of Swords. Well, why don't you come around, and a couple of 7s in that column there. Very, very interesting. I'll bring the camera around. You and I can have a good close look at the really rather haunting artwork on these cards together while we examine the astrology, the mysticism, the numerology, and the energy as it is reflected in the suits and elements of the cards. And I'll do the reading for you. Well, this looks like a month. Oh, gee, there's some soul growth going on for you here, and I'll get to that. In fact, I'll deal with that first. But that soul growth is a result of Saturn coming in. Saturn is your planet, of course. I'll speak more of it in a second. But then you have a brilliant mind, takes you on to confidence and ultimately to gain and prosperity. Let's deal with this soul growth area, shall we? And the presence of Saturn, which actually would be difficult for most people, but because it's your planet, I think it's not so bad for you. Here we have a juggler, I think, that is holding the universe together. Now we have Saturn in the 3rd decan of Taurus, which is the 11th to the 20th of May. Now, many people see Saturn as a slow-moving and restrictive planet. And Taurus, of course, is that fixed sign of Earth. You're the cardinal sign of Earth. And it's a sort of a plodding bull, isn't it? So when you have the combination of Saturn and the bull plodding along or lying underneath the tree, there's some sort of a feeling of stagnation, perhaps. Let me speak more about Saturn. Saturn is involved spiritually with keeping you on to your soul path. Now, when we come here, we come into matter and to materialization and enjoy all the things of matter: food, wine, sex, enjoyment, emotions, laughter, sorrow, happiness, those things that we don't experience in unified spirit. And Saturn is the energy, the impulse that corrects the direction that you're on back towards your soul purpose. Saturn can appear difficult when it appears. The reason why is because your soul is encased in your body in matter. And what Saturn sort of does is it it crystallizes that body, it crystallizes matter, such that you get little shards, like broken pieces of glass that come off it, as an example, and stick into you. So you feel discomfort, you feel stress, sometimes there's aggravation, things that turn out and have psychological consequences, but nothing serious for you. And the thing with Saturn is, it's actually like a teacher, but it's not like a teacher that prepares the class of students for the lesson. It comes in quickly. And it doesn't give any warning as to when it's coming in, but now it has. And it waits. It waits for the right time to come in. And the thing with Saturn is, there is no negotiation with Saturn, or that impulse. You can't bargain with it. You can't put it off. The other thing about Saturn is it doesn't tell you why it has come in. You've got to work it out in hindsight after your soul has grown, because you grow through what you've gone through, I suppose is the best way to put it. And what we have here then is this sort of feeling of a restriction, perhaps, around you. A resignation, that is almost like, should I just give up? A hesitation, perhaps. Or you fearing that there are some obstacles ahead of you which just can't be overcome. A fear of falling over. And for you, in particular, I think there is probably a fear of making mistakes that touches your business and financial situation, or your physical conditions and health. You see apparently insurmountable obstacles in front of you, and you kind of think that you're not going to be able to jump over these at the first try, and really scary images rise up. So you might be tempted to draw back, give up, and limit your actions to the old and familiar ways of dealing with problems. Now, during this time, you might experience there are delays in payments. The results that you're looking for could well seem to be long-term, but there is slow, steady growth. There's also great material success around here as well. You might feel that you are working through something of a dry spell even. But I don't need to remind you that negative expectations are very powerful thought forms, which, when you water them, either consciously or unconsciously, for a long enough period of time, they can actually help create the situation you are afraid of. Remember, your life is what you think it is. And the same applies, of course, to positive thoughts and positive expectations. But this is saying here that there's a hint here that you do need to take seriously something, and I think it could be fear. Fear that's either conscious or unconscious, which might be hanging around, and that now is the time to recognize it, to understand it and accept the fear for what it is, but knowing that it has no power over you. Now, these are necessary steps in overcoming that fear, letting it go and creating a more positive outlook. Now, you know that when you have thoughts that affirm life in all of its fullness and beauty, along with a positive attitude, then you do create the proper energy to change any unpleasant experiences that you think might be coming about into things that actually are working for you, you know. Now, Saturn, because of its impact, and I said that there are sometimes psychological outcomes of its impulse. One of those is fear, partly. And fear is a big factor in falling and in delaying your recovery from falling. I also do think here, though, that in a relationship sort of setting, that if you've been trying with somebody in a relationship and what you're putting in is just not being returned, then maybe now is about time to cut your losses. You see, Saturn might be bringing you the thought that your ability to deal with things is actually blocked by heavy and fearful expectations. But these are just thoughts. So you should now look at what those thoughts are and say this to yourself, because you do overcome this, and this is positive to you because Saturn is your planet. And say to yourself, I am willing to release all that is not serving me in my life. I have the courage to believe that all that happens in my life serves me for the best. Now, Saturn hasn't finished. It does the job properly. The impulse of Saturn is greatly misunderstood. It's really, really good, and it's particularly good for you. You get what Saturn is doing. And here we have the moon ruling the third decan of Aquarius. That's the 9th of February to the 18th. Well, the emotions of the moon, they kind of cloud the intellectual qualities of Aquarius. Aquarius is that fixed sign of air, and it's quite intellectual and detached. So the moon coming in kind of weakens Aquarius, which might be giving you a lack of clarity about something, so that you feel discouraged, or you have fears or negative expectations that we have just discussed. You might be feeling that you can't do things. You might be putting things off. There's perhaps a procrastination going on with things. You might be just doing enough, coasting along without overextending yourself or underextending yourself. That is working below your standards. There's also the thoughts here, and we spoke of Saturn. I'm going to use some other planets to get the point across. If we were to take Neptune, you might say that everything seems to be clouded by a film or veil. I just don't know what I really want. But you do find that out, as I'll show you. Or Venus, for example, you might say, but it's just too good to be true. Well, it's not, as you'll see. Or Mars says, which is exalted in your sign, as you know, Mars might be saying to you, or pricking you with the thought that I haven't the energy, there's no time, or I'm already too old. Never too old to start. Jupiter, that's too much good at once. I could never cope with so much success. Or Mercury might come into the picture and say, I just can't get it across to people. And again, Saturn saying, look, it's too much trouble and it takes too long. Well, these literally destructive thoughts, you just don't need to take them seriously. They are not real in your situation now. But you're growing through them. Your soul is giving you wisdom, and the amount of growth of the soul is directly proportionate to the amount of aggravation that you go through. Understand that? A lot of aggravation, big soul growth, small, and so on. So if you do have self-doubt at the moment, it makes it seem like things can't be overcome, don't take it seriously. Maybe the subconscious has some doubts in it that are dominating, because that's the moon there. Well, your fears really do have nothing to do with reality. So just wake up and see what's really happening, as we're going to get to in a moment. Now, what areas of your life do you diminish yourself with your own limited ideas? You can hurt yourself far more effectively than anybody else can. What are your constricting belief systems? Say this to yourself with confidence. I have all the skills and means needed to achieve that for which I long for most deeply. And then, having gone through that process, understanding it for what it is, you come out cleansed, you come out ready, and you put your foot hard down on the gas pedal and start moving forward. This guy is talking about it here. There's a lot of Gemini around here, and a lot of Taurus as well. I think they're going to be important to you. I got to say that. This guy is really a master of the intellect here. He's a master visionary. He is like you, a mastermind. Because he's turned up, he's telling you that you are going to have a time of moving in new directions with purpose and with clarity. And this is a result of you addressing these things in a mature and responsible way. It pays dividends, you see. You get success by not hiding, but by absorbing. You kind of speak from a divine truth, I think, and you're going to look for truth in everything. Now, because he's entered, he's also saying that it's a time to trust your inspiration and put new inspired ideas into action. And he's bringing the opportunity to expand and open your mind and looking at life situations much more broadly now. Truth and clear communication, they're a must for you at the time. And this is an encouragement for you to follow your path of truth. Are you living your true self? Your soul self will connect you to the divine, bringing you peace and clarity. And when you channel this divine truth and wisdom, you get really heightened mental clarity, because that's really available for you now. The truth will set you free. Now, you will start to become very active, I think. You are going to be very clever, very skillful, and you are going to be fierce and courageous. But make sure you plan out your actions first. Don't shoot from the hip. You're going to be very goal-oriented, very ambitious. And your mind is going to be very flexible, is what I'm getting here. You will have a strong mental determination that is going to be unified with a deep emotional understanding. Because only goals which are emotionally charged can light the fire of the passion within you. The body, the mind, and the spirit with you, they're now all in harmony and they fly with you. You will have a clear insight into a problem. I think you get the necessary information that perhaps you didn't have before, and you'll be working quickly to set goals, and you're not going to let anything get in the way. This is going to be quite a restless period, as I can see with this is coming up here as well. And you're going to be trying to move from where you are to where you want to be, now either in your business life, your home life, or possibly even travel, I suppose. This is definitely a time to listen to the head. Detach and use your intellect, that fine mind of yours. There's a restlessness now in all the aspects of life. Maybe there's some things in relation to your work that you want to break free from. But you are now in a very good position to make plans, to set goals, and to bring them into reality. But do you know what your goal is? Write it down in a simple sentence, not just happiness or love. Write down specifically what you want, then the steps that you need to take to get to it. And then imagine how you'll best be able to enjoy your success. And say to yourself, I know my goal and I know what I am working towards. And I know that each goal is just a milestone on the way to my ultimate destination. And you do move very quickly and successfully, because here we have this energy. And this energy is speaking to me for you of a dynamic forward motion, increased insight about things. You'll be very energetic, very ambitious, almost adventurousness, but determined. And you'll be charming and And you'll have a magnetism that is very hard to resist. You will be very sexually attractive to other people. I'm sure you'll be able to manage to do with that what you will. I see Sagittarius around here and Scorpio as being important to you. A lot of activity. Maybe you might be a bit impetuous from time to time. Very swift with things. Some people are going to say, oh, that action is something that I didn't anticipate from them. There could be things going on around you that are sort of revolutionary in nature, either in the home or what have you. But the point here is that you should just keep a clear, calm mind and continue moving forward without reacting to what's going on around you. The other thing that I would say about this is an energy which is saying that be careful that you don't just have one arrow that you shoot at something, if you know what I mean. That is, always have a plan B and a plan C, so that once the arrow has been let loose, it can't be brought back. And so there's no ability to adapt to circumstances. So make sure, even though you might be tempted to shoot at a target, you have more than one way to achieve that success, that abundance, or that love. But there is an energy within you now that, again, following from this soul growth, an energy which has been increased because of your understanding of the purpose of that soul growth. And that has set you free. And now you become unstoppable. Even difficult situations are going to move in a very constructive direction for you. So now really is also a time for you to find your vitality, trust your gut instincts. Let your hair down. Give yourself a pep talk now and believe that you can do it because you can. Now I do see journeys around here, traveling, maybe some extension or changes in responsibilities related to work, creative ideas being brought into action, and more particularly, you will have the courage of your convictions. So be awake and ready for people or situations that could produce some dynamic changes in your life and in your consciousness. And be grateful for this gift from existence. Receive it and don't cling to it, though. And ask yourself, does your present situation allow your energies to develop and unfold fully? And if not, what must be removed or changed? You have ambition. You know how to get ahead. Seek out situations and opportunities that challenge you, because other people can't keep up with you when you put your mind to it, and engage them with all of your energy. And always understand this, that every challenge which arises helps me grow, and every storm strengthens my roots. And then finally, as if to really make it clear to you that you are rewarded. You see, God gives the lessons, and God gives you the healing and the rewards. Here you have the Nine of Wands, and these wands are sticking up in good symmetry, pointing at the stars above. So I really do think that as a result of this process that you have undergone, that there's now a breakthrough and a change in your consciousness. You are moving away from fear-based behavior and understanding how to acknowledge your true wealth, your inner wealth, with a full heart and living a full life. This is bringing you success, maybe a promotion, but gain in all the areas of your life. Probably material prosperity, certainly a lot of good fortune. You have accomplished something. You are seeing and experiencing your great abilities, which allows you to look at things and at the horizon for what possibilities might even lie beyond it. Now, in a sense, I think you are really coming to terms with and learning about what is your life purpose, and it's about moving ahead, being ambitious, practical, getting things done. You act, though, from a place of grace and gratitude with the awareness of your personal value now. Now, the astrology is I am confident with that is because the astrology is Venus in the second decan of Virgo. Well, Venus is, as you would know, concerned with love, but it's also concerned with money, and it's also concerned with attracting to you the things that you want. Now, money and all those things that you want, well, they're expressions of your values, your pleasures, your tastes, and so on. So Venus is saying that if your heart is pure and you follow your heart, your life is only going to gain, and good fortune is going to come about with your material affairs. So there's a reward for efforts here, realizing your goals. There's a sense of material security and self-sufficiency around here. And projects, situations, and relationships are going to come together to produce an increase in your material life. So much so that I think that there's going to be this is a general period of improvement in all the areas of your life. It's as if there's some sort of a karmic reward being provided to you. Well, I'm not surprised, actually. And you will have good luck and good management of financial affairs. And I think you're going to get some financial security after putting in the work, of course, and doing the proper planning. Do you know that the highest task that life sets you is to realize yourself? And this happens in carrying out the special tasks that are assigned to you and not necessarily to anybody else. Now, retreating from your life's tasks out of fear or a desire to remain comfortable means denying yourself. Gain comes from giving willingly and lovingly. Now, giving in this sense means also giving yourself up to the divine, giving yourself fully to life. Now, if your knowledge and creativity are filled with love, you are going to gain from all situations in life. The more deeply you are engaged, the greater your insights will be. Again, I say it, do you know what is the highest goal in your life? But say this, because it's really true for you. Everything that happens today serves my growth, and the more I give, the more I receive. What a great set of cards which reflect the cosmic energies around you, and you did a great job. I'm sure you enjoyed that reading as much as I enjoyed providing it to you, and wasn't the artwork on the cards actually quite haunting and beautiful, don't you think? Yeah, I don't know what I'd done with this deck. I'd lost it for a number of years, and I just found it yesterday. So I want to use it. Now, unless I see you again, unless I see you privately for a clairvoyant reading or for a healing, then I'll see you here again in the same place next month. So until I do see you again, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.